Welcome to In Pursuit of Truth. This is your host, Sir Patrick Mack. Boys and girls, we got some big things to talk about today, so we are going to get right into it. After all, pursuit ain't going to start itself. So grab your coffee, fist bump your neighbor, and let's go. Starting you off today in the great state of Virginia. This is from NPR.org, or as we in the business like to call it, Nipper. Virginia governor declares state of emergency ahead of gun rights rally. Fearing potential violence, Virginia Governor Ralph Northam is declaring a state of emergency and is banning firearms and other weapons on the Capitol grounds in Richmond ahead of a gun rights demonstration planned for next week. We have received credible intelligence from our law enforcement agencies that there are groups with malicious plans for the rally that is planned for Monday, Northam said during a press conference Wednesday afternoon. Gun rights supporters are preparing to converge on Richmond for a lobbying day and a rally Monday morning. They're opposed to efforts by Virginia Democrats who've just taken over control of the Virginia legislature following the November 2019 elections to pass a slate of gun control bills backed by Northam. The event, hosted by Virginia Citizens Defense League, is expected to draw thousands of armed demonstrators, some from out of state. Organizers have said they hope to hold a peaceful event, but Northam said officials have heard reports of out-of-state militia groups and hate groups planning to travel from across the country to disrupt our democratic process with acts of violence. He said they are coming to intimidate and to cause harm. Northam is raising concerns about a reprise of the deadly violence surrounding the white supremacist march in Charlottesville in August 2017. He said state intelligence analysts have identified threats and rhetoric online that mirror the chatter they were picking up around that time. Okay, and then they kind of give you the whole see something, say something thing, and they mentioned that Monday is indeed Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So this looks all ripe for some suspect activity, doesn't it? And of course, this is going to be a pro-gun rally, and it should be a peaceful protest. We would only hope that that's going to be the case. But it looks like the state of Virginia is pulling out all the stops. But the things that worry me right here are the fact that they immediately talk about out-of-state militia. So they don't want to put any responsibility on their in-state militia. They can just go ahead and assume it's going to be out of state. And that seems to me to be some sort of, how should I say, so like foreshadowing, if you will, to kind of give them some culpable deniability when indeed something does or if it goes down. And we know that in these groups, there are the true knuckleheads, which are usually pretty few. And then, of course, 90% plus is probably just a bunch of law-abiding citizens, But this all seems kind of very strange, and it seems like a great time to go blame some people, to blame gun supporters. They're trying to take away guns over there in Virginia. And so to have a pro-gun rally, this seems very, very ripe for something bad to happen. And we always know that people like the George Soros of the world are right up in these business. Bill Ayers, I'm sure, is very well aware of what's going on right now. And of course, we wouldn't be surprised if we see one of those groups that I can't say on the air. They rhyme with ham beefa. You get the idea, right? And they start a little trouble, call themselves gun supporters, paint a little QAnon on their shirt, and next thing you know, we're in for a world of trouble. We've seen this before, so I would say that it's definitely going to be very high alert. If you are going, please be careful, be aware of your surroundings, and don't let yourself get caught up in the melee. But indeed, I don't really know what else to say other than having a local kind of information or authority. Please be safe. If you see something, say something. All right, well, like I just said, this whole thing stinks of Fish Wellington to me. Looks like a trap set by Governor Ralph Northam. And you might be surprised to find out that people had some things to say about it on Twitter. Yeah, let's start off with the POTUS, who says, "Your Second Amendment is under very serious attack in the great Commonwealth of Virginia. That's what happens when you vote for Democrats. They will take your guns away. Republicans will win Virginia in 2020. Thank you, Dems." And I think this guy right here makes an interesting point. This is CEO Eric Hayden, who says, "Virginia Capitol protest against gun control. Caged-in protest area, single entrance, state of emergency declared ahead of time with gun ban. VSP ready to violate your rights. This is what we call the Charlottesville Playbook, folks. Yeah, indeed. This is exactly what this looks like. This looks like an invitation to spark some trouble so that somebody will eventually do the wrong thing. And of course, this will play out against gun owners, QAnonymous, who knows? Pick your group. But I think you get the idea, right? This is an invitation to trouble, and it looks to me like a straight up hot box. And of course, like I just said, I imagine Hambifa will be there, and they will be. Hambifa group to march alongside pro-gun protesters in Virginia. Yeah, like I said, Bill Ayers will never pass up an opportunity to make some trouble. And then we get this right here. This is also very curious from Luke Radotsky on Twitter, who says, "The hell is this?" Just rolled into Virginia. Well, this is known as the Rook. It's a pretty scary little piece of equipment. It costs about $300 and something thousand a piece, and a lot of SWAT teams have bought these up. The Rook is built off of a Caterpillar chassis that has been modified with armor, night vision, thermal imaging, multiple cameras, a wireless remote control, and 4 attachments. So, like I said, not only will they be inviting trouble, they will be filming the entire thing. Now, I'm sure that the timing of all this is strictly coincidental with the timing of this event right here. What you are looking at is a Google Drive document. I will link this document down below for you, but you can also find it from VIAB.org or the Virginia Israel Advisory Board. And this is an event going on real soon, February 3rd through 6th. At the invitation of Governor Ralph Northam, the Israeli Ministry of Defense is bringing a delegation of 20 Israeli companies with autonomous systems, avionics, and naval technologies to the Commonwealth February 3rd through 6th. And it's a pretty big document here, and it just kind of goes into all the different companies. Here's a list and kind of a little checklist of what they provide. We're going to go through just some of them. I'll give you a brief introduction. Here is another kind of a brief synopsis of it, if you will, and then they get a little bit more in depth here. But I'm just going to read you off some key ones here. RT Aerostat family proven for use in intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, and communications applications. This one is Magna, perimeter protection of borders and sensitive sites. The only company in the world with 3D detection and the first with real-time fusion of thermal imaging and visible detectors. Law enforcement, HLS, Army, Border, Coast Guard, ports. Windward Maritime Intelligence provides smart maritime data through access to proprietary global, historical, and live information on vessels and shipping patterns. Then we got Elbit. Elbit Systems Limited is an international high-technology company engaged in a wide range of defense, homeland security, and commercial programs throughout the world. Then we've got Raphael, large defense and HLS contractor, underwater, naval, ground, and air systems to space system. So you get the idea. We're not going to go through all of these here. Tactical breaching kits, micro aerostat night vision, shooting range solutions. You get the idea. These are big time companies. And I'm going to be quite honest with you here. You don't have to be anti-Israel to be a little uncomfortable with the fact that these are all Israeli Ministry of Defense companies that are seeming to move in here to Virginia. So, like I said, that's a little bit disturbing. It would seem to me like you could have American companies do that. Now, I'm not necessarily implying anything immediately nefarious, but I think it stands on its own to show that these are big time companies, and it looks like they are dealing with border security and really anything from space to underwater. So this is some interesting stuff and something that we should definitely keep our eyes on. It's probably also just a coincidence that Sean Irving's putting out a casting call for Heat. Sean Irving seeks multiple actors for an ongoing live role-playing project. Hostile Environment Awareness Training. That spells heat. Did you see what he did there? Location, Amosville, Virginia. Amosville, Virginia, near Warrenton and Culpeper? That's right in my hood. Rate $250 a day. Now, I got to tell you, as somebody who has a lot of experience in the entertainment industry, gigs like this are normally around $85 to maybe about $125 a day. It kind of depends, but it looks like they're asking a lot here. $200 plus $50 for travel. So it's actually a pretty good gig if you're doing this sort of thing on a regular basis. Additional travel, lodging not provided. Description: Heat courses are designed to prepare NGO staff No, NGOs, for operating in challenging international environments through in-person simulations. Actors take on varying roles. You could play a terrorist, just for pulling one out of a hat. IED victim, hostage, rescue team. I was going to say doctor or lawyer, but terrorist or IED victim can also work. So you understand what's going on, right? Let's check out the requirements, though. Must be quick thinking and able to craft your own dialogue to support pre-written scenarios. Okay, I'm all of those things. Must be moderately fit. I'm looking pretty sweet right about now. Courses take place outdoors, regardless of weather conditions, and require lots of walking through rough terrain. Must be comfortable with using blank firing weapons and simulated munitions, smoke grenades, etc. Previous weapons experience not required. Nope, we'll just sprinkle in the pros amongst you so you see what's up, right? Another really, really suspect casting call for another one of these training events that just happens to take on the same sort of theme as nearby events. Probably just coincidental. So look, Patriots, I am not much of an alarmist in general, but I have to say this is a bit alarming. Now, there has been a motion to block the executive order of Governor Northam on the ban, and that, as you can see right here, has been denied. So the ban on firearms is going to go in effect. This seems straight up legit. Now, I don't want to normally tell anybody what to do or anything like that. At the end of the day, you got to make your own decisions for yourself. But if you are planning on going, please understand that there is a very high likelihood of someone doing some sort of antagonistic behavior. There's going to be actors in the nearby area. There's going to be tons of law enforcement. And even though I mentioned all these military contractors coming a little bit later, I wouldn't be surprised if they're already there. So just know that, and know that this could be a very dangerous place and a very provocative situation for you. And of course, I don't ever want to tell anybody what to do, but let's face it, Ham Beefa gonna be there. Ham Beefa gonna show up. And we know what happens when Ham Beefa shows up. Now, let me turn you on to a statement from Virginia Senator Amanda Chase, who posted this on her Facebook account. Sadly, I'm posting this knowing that the governor of Virginia has declared a state of emergency in our state. I want you to be aware of how we are being set up. Does the Patriot Act ring a bell? Does the National Defense Authorization Act ring a bell? If people show up wearing any kind of uniform, patch, or other symbol on their clothing signifying they belong to a militia and something goes wrong, you could/will be held as a domestic terrorist. If anyone steps out of line, all it takes is one person. It may even be a government plant. If that plant does anything to disrupt the rally, you will be arrested as a domestic terrorist. The governor, using the media, has already set the stage for this to happen. He has already laid the groundwork to make the entire movement look like insurrection. It will be used to put the rest of the nation on notice of what will happen to you if you resist. They have used the Southern Poverty Law Center over the last 15 years to lay the groundwork. And I'm going to stop again right there. Southern Poverty Law Center, Weatherman 1 and 2, Bill Ayers. They have labeled us as potential domestic terrorists for a long time now. Anyone who is ever related to the Three Percenters, a militia, or just belong to any patriot group, the groundwork has been laid to brand you as a domestic terrorist. They have gone out of their way since the Obama years to ensure they had us labeled. But it didn't start with Obama. It started with the Patriot Act under the Bush administration. Yeah, we all know what happened back then. And of course, everybody was on such high alert that they didn't even notice. I just want to interject, too, that we also have a USMCA being passed right about now. We're being played by a well-oiled machine. These things have been in the works for many years. They are kicking things into high gear. Military veterans, we are even listed as a potential domestic terrorist. We were told not once, but several times by the current president, it's not me they are after, it's you, the American people. Their actions over the last 3 years have shown you he was right. They are coming after us full speed ahead, and they aren't even trying to hide it anymore. Sic semper tyrannis. Keep your head on a swivel and know what's going on around you at all times. At Lobby Day, January 20th, 2020. Everyone be safe out there. Thus always to tyrants. So there you go, boys and girls. It looks like people are definitely taking this seriously. Another man taking this seriously is Sheriff's Deputy Trip Kester. He is from Davidson County in nearby North Carolina. And of course, they are watching these events unfold as they had their own event just a couple years prior, right? Now, what they've done is they've adopted this Second Amendment sanctuary city motion, and it was adopted unanimously. And here he is speaking to his county's Board of Commissioners.
I just want to personally and publicly go on record supporting this resolution before us this evening. You know, guys, it's simple, like a lot of them have said. The Constitution needs no explanation. It's been enforced for several hundred years now. It's easy to understand. It says what it means and means what it says. And the last time I read the Declaration of Independence, it specifically reminds all of us that we're endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, which means God-given. Among these, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, and that governments were instituted among men specifically to secure our God-given rights. And it says when government becomes destructive to these ends, meaning when they go above and beyond trying to secure our liberties and trying to take them, it's the right of the people to alter or abolish that government, either by voting or ultimately, God forbid, to use our Second Amendment rights to protect ourselves from tyranny. And I'm just asking all of y'all to unanimously join our sister counties of Wilkes, Surrey, Stokes, Lincoln, and Cherokee and get on board with this thing and publicly demonstrate to us that you're willing to uphold and honor the same oath I took when I put my hand on God's word and held my other hand up to him and swore that I'd give my life to defend that Constitution. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but regardless of what y'all do or don't do, I'm not going to enforce an unconstitutional law. I'm going to
That right there is a true patriot, a true man, a man. Not like those wusses over there at NBC, like, say, I don't know, Ben Collins. Huh. And speaking of NBC wusses, what is the base? FBI arrest of alleged white supremacist puts focus on extremist group. David Holden, the president of a small synagogue in rural Michigan, had never heard of the base until NBC made it up. Until his house of worship was defaced last fall. Vandals targeted Temple Jacob, one of the oldest continuously operating synagogues in the state, by spray painting swastikas and 2 SS bolts in black, and authorities believed it was members of the base. Stupid name. That was a stupid name. A neo-Nazi network behind the anti-Semitic graffiti. So you see what's up. They're already trying to get out in front of the narrative. They're already trying to pump this up and give Ham Bifa a reason to get all pumped up, right? I've never heard of the base. You ever heard of the base? It's a dumb name. The base. Sounds like a Clash of Clans clan. The jarring incident came flooding back to Holden after he learned of the arrest Thursday of 3 alleged members of the group in a separate case on the East Coast. So it's spreading the base. It's getting to be a big base, which is renewed focus on the largely decentralized movement spanning chapters in North America and around the world. All right, well, we're not going to go into this. They go on to talk about some knuckleheads and their arrest and how they were going to go ahead and jump in and they were going to try and get out in front of this whole gun rally and stuff. They mentioned the gun rally here. You get the idea. Just like Al-Qaeda, the base does not believe in any political solution to what they see as a threat to the white race. Yeah, never mind Ham Bifa. What's Ham Bifa's stance? Said Molly Saltskog, an intelligence analyst with the firm. Violence is the only option. All right, so you see what's up. NBC, fake news failures, getting out in front of the narrative. So there you have it, Patriots. Hopefully that will help you make a decision if you are indeed having to make a decision about whether or not to go to this event. But either way, I do hope that you will stay safe. As for the rest of us, Patriots, we will keep our eyes and ears open. Let me move you over here to this story from Fox. Delta Airlines plane's nose gear exits taxiway at Kansas City International Airport. Passengers aboard a Delta flight preparing to depart from Kansas City, Missouri, were forced to deplane after the plane's nose wheel dropped off the taxiway pavement on Friday morning. The aircraft, an Airbus 319, was taxiing towards the runway when the wheel exited the taxiway. A representative for the Kansas City International Airport confirmed both on Twitter and in a statement to Fox News. None of the 123 passengers or 6 crew members were injured. Delta A319 was taxiing from terminal nose wheel dropped off at taxiway pavement, tweeted Joe McBride, the marketing and communication manager for KCI, at 6:44 a.m. CST on Friday morning. No known injuries, buses being brought out to remove passengers. Okay, so it looks like the initial report says here indicated that the aircraft had slid off the runway. McBride later clarified that this was not the case, despite the icy condition. McBride further confirmed that the airport had been temporarily shut down while crews applied de-icer and not because of the Delta incident. Okay, so they said it slid off the runway, but they said that wasn't the case, even though it was indeed icy, fair enough. But for the whole airport to be shut down while they applied de-icer, I guess that's not completely abnormal either if you're really getting ice. But if that's not the case, why did you shut it down? Also, curious time, 644, Delta flight 1114. These are some interesting numbers, but the ones I wanted to point out were actually the passenger numbers being 123. And if you're not familiar by now, 23 is a number often used by anybody, usually bad actors, kind of indicating this reference to the Skull and Bones 322. But we're going to see this number 23 pop up a lot, and I think most of you already know that by now. But the other number that I thought was curious was, again, this 319, and you may have watched my video from the other day entitled Vase to Vase. This was from the 4th, and we were talking about China. We were talking about a lot of different things, North Korea, but we were also talking about this curious mention from the Trump administration where they mentioned 319 achievements. It's an odd number, isn't it? 319 achievements, 5 categories, 319 achievements. So is this another reference? I'm not really sure, but I found the numbers together, especially being a little curious. I also pointed out that the 319th reconnaissance wing was the same wing that was operating in the theater, likely operating the drones, whether it be from Guam or from Yokota, but likely in the same theater that would be working in North Korea, but also could have been keeping tabs on Soleimani. So we talk about that in the base-to-base video, and I'll let you guys go into that if you've not seen it. But again, another curious incident, and they actually shut this down for a while, this airport down in Kansas City, to handle the ice. So there you go, Patriots. That's all I got for you for now. Please be safe if you are out and about this weekend, and have yourself a great weekend. I got some more interesting bombshells, if you will. They're not really. From the great city of Detroit, Rock City. So be on the lookout for that, probably coming up next week, but we will see you very soon. All my links are down below if you'd like to join one of those. BitChute and Brighteon and Gab and Twitter. It's all down below. My email is down below if you've got information for me, and my Patreon is down below if you'd like to support the channel. All those links are down below, and so will that link to the document that I shared with you earlier. It's all down below. This is Sir Patrick Mack, and until next time, stay funky, Patriot.